Hi, this is Ernie again, and in this next and final video of our four-part series, we will explore what I mean by an unbroken chain of truths as we expand our investigation of the one true church past the 4th century into the present day. This changed everything for me as it became so clear that the church Jesus has protected is the Catholic Church. My hope is that this final video gives you the knowledge, hope, and confidence that the Catholic Church is Jesus' church that he built and has protected. So what we'll do is we'll talk about this unbroken chain of truth. And in my mind, that one true church has to have an unbroken chain of truths because we talked about it. It has to be authoritative and infallible. The church can't teach truth yesterday and have it be false today. It has to always have been teaching and preaching and promoting the truth so that all believers can see that beacon of truth for all to know what the truth is. And so where it started was, and we talked about this in Acts 15, the first church created a council in 48 AD and it declared that circumcision was not necessary. Well, then we go into the 4th century, and again, we talked about these councils of Nicaea and Constantinople, where the Nicene Creed was created. And I asked myself, if these councils, if this church that declared themselves to be one holy, Catholic, and apostolic, the one true church, if they weren't who they claimed to be, then who was? There was no opposition. I couldn't find anyone, any church that even claimed to be the one true church, yet alone actually was. Then I moved to, in my research here, moved to the 5th and 6th centuries. And I found something more amazing. Not only was the church continuing to condemn heretics that denied who Jesus actually was, but they made some decrees that were pretty surprising to me. For instance, in Ephesus, in 431 AD, they decreed that Mary is the mother of God. And in one of the canons said that Eucharist is the real flesh of the Word. In 553, Constantinople said Mary is ever virgin. And again, if you were a Christian in the 5th or 6th century, you would believe these things, or you would have been kicked out of or excommunicated from the Christian church. So I started asking myself a question again. If this wasn't the one true church, then who was? And it just keeps going on and on. In the 7th and 8th century, here it talks about in Nicaea again, where icons, statues, stained glass, and everything was not considered to be a form of idolatry. And again, continuing throughout all the centuries, the condemnations of the heretics. Here in 1139 AD, almost 1,000 years ago, they talked about infant baptism, sacramental nature of the priesthood, and the Eucharist. Again, all these beliefs that were never that were declared the truth, but never then said were false. And again, it just keeps going on and on throughout the history. Here's transubstantiation is talked about 900 years ago. And then they talked about the Reformation and really started talking about how the authority of the church, authority of the Pope, sola scriptura was a falsehood. And again, over and over, this church kept continuing to declare the truth, never once backing off and saying we made a mistake, because the truth is always the truth in an unbroken chain way. What was truth then is truth now, false then, false now. And it made sense to me because Jesus's church is protected from error. So it has to be the case if we found Jesus's church, which I finally did in the Catholic Church. So now, not only do I know that it's the Catholic Church, but I fell in love with the Catholic Church as well because it's Jesus's church, the pillar and foundation of truth. People will ask why I'm Catholic. I'm Catholic because it is Jesus's church that he gave authority to and promised to protect. That's why I love Jesus, and therefore I love his church. And I hope this video series was impactful and helpful to you. God bless you all, and God bless the Catholic Church. Thank you.